Hello! Welcome to the 12th episode of Coding with Amadeus. We're building a smart mirror which is running on Raspberry Pi, running on Windows 10, and we're mostly done with the functionality. Now all we need to do is touch up the UI. So today we'll be working with XAML and with Universal Windows App resources. Let me quickly show you what's happening right now with our app. We have a clock module, we have a weather in upcoming days, weather in upcoming hours, and we have when the buses are coming in my neighborhood. So those are the four parts of the smart mirror. And as this is a smart mirror, I need the background to be black and the foreground to be white. And the reason is that this will be displayed behind a two-way mirror, which means that the blacks will become reflective and the whites will go through the mirror and will be visible from the outside. We are in app.xaml, which is the XAML part of the entry point to our application that we were working on earlier. And here we see a requested theme equals light. Let's see what else can we put here. The choices are just dark and light. So we're limited to two themes, and this theme is influenced by the default setting of your user's device. Here we have a full control over the device, the Raspberry Pi, so we don't really care about it. Alright, so this just changed the entire theme of the application to dark, where the backgrounds are dark and the letters are white. Let's try to make those letters big and red. We're looking at the resources here. We can put really anything we want in here. We can put a style that targets a text block. And as long as the style doesn't have a key, it will affect every single text block. And here we're trying to give those text blocks big size in Helvetica and red color. Let's take a look at it. It works here, but doesn't work here. And why it doesn't affect every single text block, even though elements here are clearly text blocks? The reason is that those text blocks live inside of the data template. And for some reasons, styles don't go into the templates. So unfortunately, we cannot just theme every single text block in the application. There's no such way in XAML. It is possible in CSS, but for XAML, we actually need to create a style, give it a name. Okay, so we have a style with the key MyStyle. Now when we go to this view, let's find every single text block, and we can pass in a style. It will be a static resource because it is now in our resource dictionary, and we will just use the key, and the key is MyStyle. So let's copy that and quickly paste it to different text blocks here, including text blocks which are inside of the stack panel and inside of the template. Now that we gave the key to our style, it no longer applies to all text blocks. So in the clock model, it doesn't work anymore. But if we go to the weather today, it works, and it actually works inside of the template. So we'll just have to give the style to every single text block in the application, and that's super inconvenient, but that's the only thing we can do. Let's try to make the style better. So instead of just having a raw value here, kind of like magic strings in a code, let's create a SolidColorBrush. As I said earlier, we can put anything in resources. It can be an instance of SolidColorBrush with a key text color, and we can take advantage of it here. We can use a static resource text color, and this really shines if you have multiple styles and all of them are using this one color. If this is, for example, an accent color of your application and you want to give it to buttons, text blocks, lists, whatnot, okay, this seems to work. Now, another improvement we can do is we can take those styles and move them to a separate file, just to organize things nicely. Let's create a new resource dictionary. Let's right click on the project, hit add new item, resource dictionary, and we can call it mirror styles. It will be placed here side by side with our app.xaml. And now we can take this and move it out here, so that this entry point is neat and really concerned with just the entry point, and mirror styles are concerned only with the looks of the application. And now we need to include that dictionary in this resource dictionary. Inside application resources, let's create a resource dictionary, and we'll create merge dictionaries entry. Resource dictionary.merge dictionaries. And now we can create another resource dictionary with source mirror styles.xaml. And we run into an error. This member resources has more than one item. Use the items property. It's not really a descriptive error, but it means that if we're using resource dictionary, we cannot store resources outside of it. So we need to take those resources, cut them, and we can paste them here, so that everything lives inside the resource dictionary. And I think that should do the trick. Let's run our app and see if that screen that we themed earlier is still themed. It is. Okay. We had to adorn every single text block with this style, but it's actually not as bad because I want to give different text blocks different size of text. So we would have to do it anyways. For example, this one, the temperature. Let's call this one very large text, extra large text. And we'll create a style, extra large text, and here we'll use XAML's inheritance. Instead of creating 3 different styles, each one of them redefining what font we need, what font size we need, we just called it large text based on my style. So actually let's just rename my style into regular text and call this one extra large text. Will be also based on regular text, and all they will have here will be a different font size. For example, here we'll make it 40, here we'll make this 30. And now we'll just apply them. I keep getting those green squiggly lines. I actually have a mistake here. Everything here needs to be properly typed. So we'll use a static resource regular text. Okay, we have 3 different sizes of text. That's great. Now, I have a whim that during the day, the smart mirror has white or kind of bluish text to it, and at night it becomes amber or red so that it doesn't burn your eyes. And that thing was extremely difficult to accomplish. I tried so many things. Here's my Stack Overflow question. There's a lot of different things I tried, and a friend here, Sam the dev, has a very good answer. It's complicated, but it's doable. So to get started, we will modify the theme that comes with the XAML application. We are in our resource dictionary, and I'm just copying stuff from the Stack Overflow answer. We are adding an entry theme dictionaries. and inside of it we have two dictionaries with a key dark and with a key light. And unfortunately, it appears that we can only do two of them at a time. We cannot really have more than two themes. I hope that this is not the case, and if it is, then it gets somehow resolved. So in a dark mode, this is a sort of a reddish amber color, and during the day we will be using this text color, and we will remove this default text color here, because we'll be using either dark or light, so the text color here will be definitely resolved. We're using the text color as a static resource, but now we need to use a theme resource, which allows that resource to be updated whenever we change the theme. And now I'll wire things up. In app.xaml.cs we are creating a frame, root frame equals new frame, so here we just need to do equals new theme aware frame. And it takes one parameter, what is the default frame. So by default we'll use, I don't know, light frame, that it's day. And lastly, we create a delegate time of day change handler, which takes that theme aware frame and sets the app theme property. And depending on the boolean, we're either using dark or light. And this is hooked up from the clock model. In the clock model, we have this nightfall delegate, and we are invoking it. And here, pay attention to the question mark dot syntax. It means that if the nightfall delegate is null because no one set it, maybe it's in a test, clock model is not going to throw an exception, a null ref exception. It just will ignore this line. And what we're doing here actually, that every other second we're switching the theme. Actually, every second we're switching the theme. We can see that in the dark mode the text is amber, in the bright mode the text is kind of bluish. But this is not at all what we want, because we want the theme to be always dark. We just want to change the text color. And this is when we go to the theme resources XAML, which is bundled with every Windows 10 installation. Let's go to Explorer, and we will navigate to Program Files, Windows Kits 10, Design Time, Common Configuration, Neutral, UAP, then there's a version number which can be different for everyone, Generic. And here we have theme resources.xaml, so just open it real quick. And this is a massive file which has a lot of themes. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to select all, go to Visual Studio, and we will create one more resource dictionary. We'll call it Light Override. And we'll paste everything here. And let's take advantage of those very handy minus icons, which allow us to collapse things. Now we just collapsed 2000 lines of code. We just want to leave the default, which is the dark one, and remove everything else. Alright, now our dictionary contains just the dark theme. Now what we want to do is we want to take the dark theme and make it appear as a light. So we just need to rename this. And we need to merge that dictionary into our apps dictionary. And with this done, it should work. Beautiful. We're using two themes, the light one and the dark one, and the only difference is the color of the text blocks. This solution has a drawback that you can no longer use the light theme, because the light theme is consumed to look like a dark one. So this is not the perfect solution, but it works for my case, and I wouldn't be surprised if it wouldn't work for anyone else. And it's a big shame that XAML isn't that flexible. And the last stage of working on the user interface will be definitely too much and too long for the podcast. So maybe I'll just show you the general workflow of what I want to accomplish. Right here we have 4, but we want to show that this is 4 degrees Celsius. But everything will need to be bundled together, and I will be using StackPanels. StackPanels allow me to position two things relatively. Alright, so I just used some StackPanels to bundle together 5 degrees Celsius, 5 AM, but it still doesn't look good at all. So I'll quickly show you this LiveVisualTree, which is really awesome. And the way to show them, if you don't see them, is go to Debug, Windows, and it should be somewhere here. By clicking on those buttons, enable selection and display layout adorners, I see those nice guidelines, so I select AM. We can change the text to be 16, we can change the font size to be 40. So you can play around with stuff here. It appears that you can't really do everything. And now that we created margin here in the code, we can change the margin here and see which value looks best. For example, I don't even know which one of those 4 values is responsible for the top margin. Is it the third one? No, it has margin on the right, so it will be probably the second one. And now we see that the Celsius went down, so I guess we can just here in 4 find the best font size. Maybe 64 will be a good one. Let's make it 80. Yeah, that looks good. Now for this one, we would like to make font size a little bit bigger. So LivePropertyExplorer allows you to play with all of those values, but now unfortunately you need to remember them because they're not being written into the source code. And you can't change the code right here. Maybe we can break. No, even when we break, we can't do it. So you use this for experimenting, take a mental note, and then update your XAML code. So use the LiveVisualTree and LivePropertyExplorer. Those things are really cool. Just remember that in order to play with margin, you need to set a margin for that thing first, initially. Otherwise, it wouldn't be available to you. In the next episode, hopefully we'll be able to put everything together and put on the wall. So I'm really stoked for that, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.